Hello, hello, and welcome to another ohmTown Daily News Show. Season 2, Episode 139 for May 19th, 2023. An AR laptop and more news. And here's a quick rundown of the articles we'll be talking about tonight. We're going to talk about a Stardew Valley portrait creator, Apple personal voice, Instagram Twitter competitor, Target recalls candles, Starbucks switches to pebble ice, TikToker sue Montana, mini kangaroos, I wants one, plastic is pervasive in our food supply, Powerwash Simulator is scrubbing the market for themes, and my dream laptop is getting closer to reality. Let's get into today's articles. Hello. I am Mayor Watt. That is ohmtown.com. And up there is the visualizer for the AI that, like I said yesterday, keeps me out of trouble. I want to say hi, dear AI.
Good evening, ohmTown citizens.
So, today, I am going to introduce you to a new feature over at ohmtown.com. To the best of my knowledge, I don't think another website does this for its news. So I think it is a unique feature to ohmTown, but you have to be a citizen to utilize it. And I'm going to demonstrate this for you right here at the beginning of the show. I was going to release it next week, but what I'm going to do is this is the minimum viable product for this new feature. So we're going to launch it today. Next week, additional features will be augmenting this as we ramp up a bigger and bigger feature set around this. But essentially, what we've done at ohmTown is afford you the ability to manage your news in a way that allows you to avoid re-seeing things that you have already seen. See, the problem is I'm overwhelmed with news, and so I want to see it, I want to consume it, and I want it to get out of my way. And because I consume so much via ohmTown, I decided to develop this method. And what you can do on any mobile device as well as your desktop, and on the desktop, you just click and drag left or right, and it will swipe it into either saved or forget, ignore, whatever you want to call it. But right now it's actually called ignored articles and saved articles. And so what you can do is just swipe it away. This is actually saving it into the saved articles page. And what it does is it just refreshes the page and displays it just like you would have it displayed on your home page, except that it's nothing but the saved articles. And so I've been throwing a bunch of stuff in there, and so it was paginating it, so that you can go back if you want to. And if you don't want it here anymore, you can just throw it to the right, and that will throw it into the ignored articles. And as time goes on, additional functionality, additional features will be augmenting this. And so here are some, and what's neat about this is that they'll never end up on the front page again. So when you go back to your front page, I have more functionality than most people, so it's a little bit slower, but I'll work on that too. But when you go back to the front page, you won't see the articles that you have either ignored or saved. To consume those again, to go back and leave other additional comments, you can go either into the various channels, or you can go into saved and ignored and go and then click on those, and you can access comments, leave a comment. Or if you no longer want it saved, you can just swipe right and it'll throw it into the ignored bin. And that's where it stands. I think that it's a pretty neat feature. And yeah, I don't think any news site has this. But you can basically build a favorites list, and we have plans for additional functionality, but I'm gonna tease you with it. If you're interested in this, to utilize this feature, you have to become a citizen of ohmTown, and you will, if you're not, you'll basically get told via the page that you have to join. Right now, that's how it is, and it's all free. There is an ad somewhere on the page. I think it's down here at the very bottom, so far below the fold that I don't think people even reach that far unless they're going to be turning the page. But you can always just limit this to 25. It speeds up the page quite a bit. And then you can go next. So we'll keep working on this.
I like to do it in 50 articles at a time, but I'm really excited about the new features.
Yep. Yeah, me too. I was so happy that this was implemented this quick that I had to roll it out before the weekend came. But that's how it is. Pretty easy peasy. But on mobile, it's even faster and it's easier because you can hold your phone with one hand and just swipe left or right and throw one after the other, either into saved for later or ignored. And if you come up with an idea for some feature, feel free to send an email to mayor@ohmtown.com, and I'll evaluate it to see if we can add it. But right now, we've got a bunch of ideas, and we'll be sticking with those, at least for now. Okay. Man, I just want to keep talking about it and showing it off, but I won't. Okay. Oh, and if you are, once you're signed in, you'll see this. This is kind of like a power panel, a profile panel as well. So, and then within that, you have the saved or ignored articles, and you can do other stuff. And it's also available through here. We have it for different types of users who want to interface, citizens who want to interface in a different way. You don't want to drop through menu after menu. You just have this open and you can go through it. So anyway, that's it for now, at least at ohmtown.com. So go check it out. That said, let's get into today's articles. I only have 10 articles. Let's get going. Oh,
I don't know how you got to only 10. There was a lot of news in the last 24 hours.
I just have to whittle out the stuff that either, I don't know, I think that there's other stuff that was more interesting, at least from my perspective. And so, without being too showy about my bias, these are fun for me. I think because you selected some of them, I selected some of them where they cross over, then I think that we're on good footing. And then depending on what other people have sent in, it augments this. And so then if something actually is seen outside of ohmTown, that's kind of like icing on the cake. Oh, there's other people that are interested in this too. But for the most part, all of the information that I see outside of ohmTown is in ohmTown as well, just without all of the other noise. There's so much noise out there that there are a lot of issues that people are missing entirely because they're surfing through a bunch of noise. And I'd rather talk about certain things in real time here on Twitch, and then expand as citizens grow here on Twitch, over on YouTube, on the podcast, and on ohmtown.com. I would like to start launching these shows, and then they would be niche topics, highly focused on whatever the actual show's topic is. I mean, we have all kinds of stuff from writing to drinking, which might actually not be that far away from each other.
Right.
But
Some of the best writers, I think, have been drinking at the time.
yeah, really. I actually had one. Well, I shouldn't even say this because that's like throwing them under the bus. But anyway, let's just move on. um, it involves grading and alcohol, and
Oh no.
grades increasing as alcohol is consumed. Yeah, I said, yeah, that's probably not a good policy, but it is what it is. Okay, so with all that in mind, let's get into today's articles. So the very first article is in the Warcrafter channel. Everyone should use the Stardew Valley portrait creator immediately. That's exactly what I said when I saw this. I think it's really fun. Non-artists rejoice. You can now have a custom pixel art portrait of your farmer in Stardew Valley. And it's not AI powered either. It's a free character designer tool with art by Poltergeister, the pixel artist who did all of the portraits for the giant Stardew Valley expanded mod. And you can use your portrait in the game with the help of a couple of other mods, or just use it like a pick crew maker. Okay, so let's go over to PC Gamer, and Lauren Morton is the author. And if you're into pixel art, these are pretty neat as far as pixel art goes. The artist from one of Stardew Valley's biggest mods has created a custom portrait maker for your farmhand. This actually seems like it could go well beyond Stardew Valley. The Stardew Valley character portrait maker is a free browser quote-unquote game, is what they call it. They quote-unquote game over on itch.io, or itch.io as I say it. I don't know if other people, every time I say something or I hear somebody say this, they always say itch.io or just itch or itch.io. I've heard all kinds of stuff. So where you can design your own farmer's hair, clothes, color options, and then download a handy PNG file. They say it's pretty cute and easy tool with lots of different face shapes, hairstyles, and colors. Marks like freckles or scars and accessory options too. Seems like pretty fun. It says there's a masculine version of the tool that uses a body shape with a slightly wider neck and shoulders. All right. Why wouldn't that be an option? That's weird.
Right. Why does it need to be something separate?
SDV creator MASC. They refer to it as masculine. Weird. You'd think that it would just be another option in here, pivot.
Yeah.
This or that, or just make it a bunch of options within it so that you don't have that, binary decision making. All right. I don't know why. Sorry, I'm fixated on that because I'm like, well, what if I want to be a thicker necked?
I guess that's not going to be an option in this portrait maker. I
All
was
right.
thinking the same thing. Like, that might not be the best split right now.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of a bad take in this day and age, but I'm not going to step into that fray. They're doing it for me, I guess. So anyway, I really dig this kind of stuff. I'm into the pixel art kind of thing. I'm into the like emoticons or emotes, as they're called here on Twitch. But scaling these down, you might lose some of the resolution if you want them like the little. So the AI doesn't spend much time on Twitch. Is only really in Hometown, and so may not be familiar with emotes. But basically, there's little pictures, and really skilled artists can distill this down to this tiny little picture. I can't even remember how many pixels are involved in this. I swear
those
it's
in
like
chat,
2.
for example?
Yeah.
Then I know what that is.
Yeah. And they're just, some of them are just amazing. There's a streamer who is a VTuber named Brildane, Brildain, Brildane. and their little emotes are spectacular. I don't think that I've ever been able to weasel my way into finding out who the artist is, and I don't have enough clout, right? I'm not a partner, I'm not an affiliate, I don't even have the ability to deploy emotes in my channel yet. But I want that quality of emote when I can. So, and there's a good follow me over here on Twitch. Come on over. Just mash the follow button. I need to get more people coming each day for this 1 hour so that I can apply for affiliate. Most people say, hey, you don't sit there and ask for that kind of stuff, but I'm here only 1 hour. I will be expanding to more hours. But I would really like to get the ball rolling on being affiliate and offer up these emotes and keep moving forward. And since right now I'm only an hour, I basically just need to ask people to show up. Come on over, have a discussion with me, throw some words into the chat, and let me know you're there and give me permission to repeat your statements in chat. And we can have a discussion about this kind of stuff. What's your take on this? That there's a completely separate app for quote unquote masculine version of this pixel art. I don't know. To me, it's in this day and age, it's a weird take. I'm not bent out of shape about it, really. I just think that it's an interesting conversation in this day and age. So, you want to move on to the next article?
Yes.
So this next article is over in the Smack Talk channel. Everyone should use personal voice. It does in 15 minutes what currently takes several weeks. So this is an Apple feature that was rolled out with the latest operating system update. And it's an accessibility feature that allows you right now to take all of your phonemes, right? So for 15 minutes, you train personal voice with your voice, and it breaks on the phone. It doesn't get sent out to Apple. It breaks your voice into individual phonemes, and then you can type stuff and it will speak in your voice.
What do you use that for?
If you lose your voice, or you want something,
I understand. Got it.
Or you want something translated, you can actually use this as the translation device in your voice, all without actually speaking. So
it sounded really cool. I just couldn't think of what the application was, but I was thinking about it from somebody who could speak it.
Right. So, and they give the kind of a hint about sudden loss of your voice. If you have a sore throat, if you're whatever the reason is, you could just type blah, 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 and it will actually speak in your voice, your inflections, it's you. In fact, a Congress critter, you deployed this while in session to amplify the message that reality hacker is a real thing. You won't know who to trust. At some point, it's going to be so real. Now, just to drive home the point here, I'm going to go over to 9to5Mac, which is the source. Ben Lovejoy wrote this article. And again, you can do this now. It says, while personal voice is one of the most exciting of the upcoming accessibility features Apple announced this week, you may have thought it wasn't relevant to most people, but a new report today suggests that we should all take advantage of it when iOS 17 launches. So you can actually get a beta version of this right now. All you have to do is be part of the beta program. Anyway, so they say from Stephen Hawking's robotic voice to voice banking, we're all familiar with the speech synthesizer used by the late Stephen Hawking. He could select words and phrases that would be spoken aloud, but in a very robotic voice. If prior to him losing his voice, he had used or had this feature, then it wouldn't have been robotic. It would have been his actual voice. So it's really neat. But
so that's basically saying you should be doing this now if you have your voice, so that if you don't have your voice, you have a way to communicate, at least verbally.
yep, that's exactly it. In fact, there's recorded iterations of previous languages that have been lost to time. And by using those broken into phonemes in another way, they could re-scope the phrases and then say those phrases into Apple personal voice and recover the natural spoken language for pretty much anything that could be said. So you could resurrect lost languages, because the people who used to use that language have died off, and so the language is gone, but recordings remain. Because you may want to have somebody speak that language but say something different. Well, what do? The language is gone, so you only have those fixed languages. Well, now you can resurrect those languages. People who are very interested in linguistics may be interested in recovering that and being able to speak. I think it's pretty neat. Let me back up real quick.
Yeah, that makes me think anthropologists are going to be going to far-flung peoples trying to record voices in this way, which I don't think is a bad thing.
No, not at all. Yeah, I mean, it shows another sector of society, of humanity. Yeah, anthropologists would be the people that I would be driving this to, as well as anybody who needs the accessibility features, because that's what its original intent is, accessibility. So, and they talk about current voice banking takes several weeks. You have to speak 1,500 phrases, can be expensive as well as time consuming, of course. But again, because it gets broken into phonemes, you can basically say anything. Oh, and I was going to say this before I started talking about all the rest of this. Close to 13, 14 years ago, I did this. I actually used Python and recorded speech, and I could have anybody say anything just by getting their spoken word, breaking it into phonemes, and then Python reading the text message that I said, go ahead and say this, and it would read it just like any president, anybody in the room that I happen to be able to record, etc. And that was close to 15 years ago. Think of the sophistication of the programming used in this. It's amazing. 15 minutes. That's all it takes. So I'll probably end up doing that this weekend just to see what it's like. They say everyone should use personal voice. Personal voice not only reduces the time and effort involved in those already diagnosed with a condition known to lead to loss of speech, but is sufficiently painless that it makes sense for everyone to do it as an insurance policy. Yeah. You would be able to have a voice, your original voice, even if you lose it in the future, because it's stored on your device. And again, they say that it does not go to Apple. It's all done on device. Pretty neat.
So is that available on all Apple devices now, like in the most recent update?
Not the most recent update. It will be in the most recent update, but you have to wait for iOS 17 to launch, which will be around WWDC. I think,
that's in June, but I don't know the exact dates.
Let me see I must have deleted it already. There was an update today. I think you can get into program that allows you to install the beta versions of it. Test flight, right? Yeah, it's test flight. So once you join test flight, you can actually download it. I hesitate to do that beta testing on your live device because if something catastrophic happens, you lose everything. And if you back up to the cloud and you get rid of older iterations of your cloud storage, then you basically can't restore. But suffice it to say, if you're a risk taker and you don't mind, trying out brand new features, go for it. Okay, let's go on to the next article. This next article is over in the Daily News Show. Instagram is reportedly testing a Twitter competitor, and the first leaked images indicate a summer release. And this is kind of like going from one to the other. It's not going to make a difference. They both have the same contempt for their users, it seems. Meta is reportedly pitching celebrities and influencers to join Instagram for your thoughts. Another billionaire fever dream. A new report from the Substack of Leah Haberman cites conversations with a creator who met with Meta about the app. Initial images of the app in marketing materials make it look like a mix of Twitter and Instagram. Quote, the Instagram for your thoughts, end quote, being built by Meta to compete with Elon Musk's Twitter, could launch as soon as next month, according to several reports. And this is over at businessinsider.com. Aaron McDade is the author. Why is it that we all are bound by whatever fever dream comes from billionaires? There are amazingly skilled people out there, and yet the only thing we hear about, at least in press, is this. This is the same person that said that everybody who was using Facebook was a frickin' idiot. Giving him all of your personal information. This is the same leadership that manipulated the news feeds of 700,000 people many years ago, but then it still went on again and again and again, these experiments on its user base. The reason why it can be done is because it's a private sector business. It isn't a government. So it isn't a government organization. So you can't file FOIA and get anything from a business. You can't file an ethics, anything. It literally has to come out from a whistleblower saying that a criminal action or abuse of people and their rights is underway. Something that violates something federally for it even to get any look. So why do we keep leaning on looking at these billionaires? The billionaire class that you're looking at, folks, you're never going to get there. Even in your wildest dream, even if you win the lottery, you're never going to be a billionaire because you don't have historical generational wealth that's been exploiting wealth generation again and again and again, consolidating wealth and power and influence. None of you are going to be that billionaire class. So embrace the middle class and make us all stronger so that we can build up competition and we don't have to suffer under these fever dreams. Everybody kowtowing to the billionaires because they might slip us a bone, for crying out loud. Give me a break. Anyway, Instagram now is going to be a competitor. I've had these conversations with people. When the barrier to entry is you have to have billions to launch a business so that you can compete, there's a serious issue with entrepreneurship. So all these little dogs are going to be barking to launch a new Twitter, let's say. But then the moment that a billionaire comes along and says, hey, I'll buy that for $10 million, and it's more money than you would possibly make in your lifetime, you take it. Because,
right, and
quote
you
unquote,
can't fault somebody for doing that.
no, honestly, but I don't want to live in some billionaire's fever dream. I just don't. I really think mergers and acquisitions, I can't fault people for taking the money, right? Work is hard work. Money, if somebody has a shit ton of it and they're willing to give you 10 million of it to acquire you and your product for 2 to 5 years, fine, take it. But for crying out loud, man, we are suffering because there isn't enough competition out there getting spoken about. So tell me about the things that you discover, about the businesses that are starting up, the people that are out there that are amazing that you want to talk about. Talk to me and I will bring them here into ohmTown. I've got a segment in ohmTown that's all about entrepreneurs. It's all about startup culture. It's designed so that we can talk about this kind of stuff and introduce competition and promote something other than the billionaire class fever dream. Anyway, again, this might launch here by summer. And it's basically a Twitter, Instagram crossover. But again,
I'm still excited that it's a Twitter competitor, but I'm not really excited about the source of it.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it's still just going to be, it's going to be the meta ecosystem.
Twitter 2.0, right, or Facebook 2.0.
Yeah, it's just going to be a Facebook Twitter. You know, everybody should just switch over to Mastodon, damn it. Neuter all of this and just switch over to Mastodon. Find ohmTown has Mastodon as well. So you can just go to citizen.ohmtown.com and sign up for a Mastodon account. Anyway, so citing conversations with a creator who met with Meta, Haberman confirmed some previous reported details about the app, including plans for it to be decentralized, so Mastodon. Reported by Platformer in March. She also reported that the app could be released as soon as next month. I don't know how they can spin up something that's decentralized and still under the complete control of Meta unless it's filtering all of its data to a centralized location. Yeah, I don't know. Bloomberg confirmed part of it. The Twitter competitor has been referred to as Project 92 or P92, which I swear is an exercise thing. It might be P something else. I don't know. Anyway, it says the app may be compatible with other apps like Mastodon, allowing users to search across apps. Talk about
it is a weapon.
P92?
Yeah, and it's also an airplane.
Yeah. All right. Okay, well, I don't know what to say.
And it might be other things, but that's what I found immediately.
Yeah. So it says that posts can be up to 500 characters. Whatever. Being able to connect to Mastodon gives it the ability to cross over into Mastodon space, but it's more like exploiting an open arms competitor while you're closing your arms to everybody else, you know? I find it really...
Well, I don't see Mastodon making itself compatible with... Why would it do that with a competitor? I mean, why would Mastodon do it? I can see why Meta might do it.
Because Mastodon is open source. So, anyway, it says in March, the company told Platformer that it was exploring a standalone decentralized social network for sharing text updates. We believe there's an opportunity for a separate space where creators and public figures can share timely updates about their interests. Yeah, Why not promote Mastodon? Oh, you can't do that. Why? Because they're going to be getting something out of it, which kind of neuters the idea of it being decentralized. They can't exploit it for profitability if it is truly open, if it is truly decentralized. You know, we benefit from having a Mastodon because it basically builds culture. You can stay with like-minded people in the Mastodon server of ohmTown. This other thing is going to be owned by a billionaire, and just like history has said, oh, we're going to leave Oculus alone, and suddenly it's Meta. We're going to leave that company alone, and they hire everybody on board and then fire 20% of them and rename all of their products Meta this or that or whatever. That's how it works, folks. You're going to be fed a line of BS and ultimately regret it years later. But yeah, we'll see. Okay, let's move on to the next article. I can only soapbox so much. So the next article is over in the Daily News Show. Target recalls millions of candles due to laceration and burn hazards. The United States Consumer Product Safety Commission announced the recall of Target threshold candle products after reports of breaking or cracking during use. I guess they went beyond the threshold of the glass. So this is from abcnews.go.com. Kelly McCarthy is the author. I think it's from Good Morning America. Yeah, that's what GMA is. There were reports of cracking or breaking during use. I don't know. It says 5 million of its threshold candles due to reports of candle jars breaking or cracking during use. Any of those in ohmTown?
I'm pretty certain there are.
So, has 137 reports of it breaking or cracking during use. 6 injuries were reported, including lacerations and severe burns. Wow. According to the CPSC, the recall involves certain threshold glass jar 5.5 ounce 1-wick, 14 ounce 3-wick, and 20 ounce 3-wick candles in multiple scents. The recalled item numbers are printed on the bottom of the glass jars. Blow them out and let them cool down before you check.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Let's make sure not to exacerbate the problem while we're checking for the problem.
Yeah. We don't have do not place plastic bag overhead because people go, hey, I probably shouldn't do that. The candles, which were manufactured in Vietnam, were sold at Target stores nationwide as well as online from August 2019 through March 2023 for between $3 and $20. And that's probably why they are shattering, because the glass was cheap enough to price it at $3 to $20 during this time. That's cheap.
Right.
And
plus, everybody was probably buying candles while they were stuck at home during the pandemic. Sorry.
Okay. I don't normally do this, but I'm going to throw that link into the VOD as well. And I'll include it in the show notes. That there, you know what? Let me do it this way. I'll add it to Showbot, which is ohmtown.showbot.tv. All of the articles that we talk about is stored over there, or are stored over there, so that you can vote on them. That's kind of an easy repository for voting. Although I could probably do it on ohmTown itself in the future. Maybe I'll do that. Then I can store it forever. At any rate, if you follow this link, it goes to cpsc.gov and is the direct link to the recall data. So once your candle's cool, folks, flip them over and look to see if your serial numbers match or the item numbers match. their list. Do you want to add anything?
No, other than, this is a lot of candles across a long period of time, so just
5 million.
pay attention, people.
Yeah. You don't know when it's going to happen. There's probably not any warning signs. So, okay, let's go on to the next. This next article is over in the Hedge Ideas channel. Starbucks is making another massive change to its iced drinks, and customers are starting to quote-unquote worry. I'm not quite sure why they would worry, but a viral photo on Reddit shows a new, smaller ice shape being tested in select stores.
People are worrying because they get very accustomed to something and they can't deal with change.
Yeah, I guess. I don't like Starbucks ice, though. It's this big old slab like a glacier.
But I think this is a positive change. But
so, the article's over at entrepreneur.com. Emily Rella is the author. This is not the Reddit viral photo, by the way. This is a Getty image. So what I heard was that it was going to be pebble ice. I didn't even see this the picture, by the way. I just heard that it was, and it wasn't from a Reddit article that I heard this. So somewhere along the line, somebody caught wind that it was, they say it's dubbed nugget ice. The poster says their workplace is one of the 3 locations testing the new ice. But I heard that it is pebble ice, which is, it's smaller and easily chewed. So it says the photo drew mixed results from Reddit users, with many raising concerns about how quickly the new ice would melt. Yeah, because they're smaller, there's more surface contact. It's crushed and slightly compressed. So there's all kinds of open area inside it for liquids to start melting the ice. So you're going to get watered down drinks faster. Or here's what they might psychologically want you to do: drink it faster.
And order more, maybe?
And order another. So it says your light ice will need to be extra light. Think the gentlest tap of ice and it'll probably be okay, the barista advised fellow employees on how to best manage using the new ice. All of your shaken espressos will need to be shaken even more vigorously, otherwise there won't be foam to speak of. It's okay for shaking teas and refreshers, though. So, yeah, I suppose. And they continue to talk about other things associated with this ice. But the people are worrying that the ice is going to melt too fast, or it's going to water down the drink, things like that. I don't have the picture showing up, but that's okay.
I mean, they could drink hot coffee drinks.
No, not in summer. Get out. I'm going to have to delete that.
Hot coffee in the summer is a great thing.
Hot coffee in the summer. Oh, sorry.
Or so I've heard, is the AI.
That's right. The AI does not have an opinion on the... What databases have you been tapping into that you actually have perception about coffee?
Coffee Lovers R Us.
Man, I hope that's not actually taken somewhere. I'm going to have to grab that domain real quick.
I don't know if that's actually the name.
Let's go on to the next article. So this next article is over in The Word in Law. We spoke about this yesterday. Montana has passed a bill saying that TikTok is illegal and you can get a $10,000 per day per instance fine, which is just batshit crazy. I don't see how it can possibly be enforceable, considering there is no material harm. This isn't drinking and driving, folks. This is utilizing an application that arguably exfiltrates data to China. That's the claim. That's what people are freaking out about, that it exfiltrates data to China. Now, I agree. I don't think that US data should be exfiltrated to China. I just looked up another website that brags that it's a US company, but its true owner is a Chinese company. But they hype.
I think I know exactly what site that is, but I'm not going to say it.
Yeah, I'm not going to get into that. But the fact that they sit there and hype that it's a US based company, but no, it's wholly owned by a Chinese conglomerate company. This stuff is everywhere, folks. And even the companies that are inside the United States are abusing the data that they are acquiring from their constituent parts being let's take Meta and Facebook. There's millions of users that are being profiled, essentially. It's to provide better service, blah, 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 blah. No, it's selling the data to somebody so that they can sell ads. All the rest of that is part and parcel to the service, but they're selling it. And in many instances, it's already been documented that there's been abuses of this data being exfiltrated for other nefarious purposes, political and otherwise. And it's not monitored. Nobody really cares. Privacy is dead, all of that kind of bullshit. But suddenly it's a material affront to American society that the data is being exfiltrated. Okay, so why don't you do something about it? Instead of sitting there trying to litigate about one company, one product, wildly successful. Why? Because it was maybe it is exfiltrating user data off to a juggernaut of an algorithm that is basically feeding the masses digital opium. But suddenly you want to take action because it's China? Yeah. We do have an issue with China, and that is that the CCP wants cultural isolation. We can't affect the social structure of China. It's met with violence. But here in the States, now there are businesses here. Now we pick and choose who we're going to actually allow inside our doors. We are doing the same cultural isolation. Now, lead. Change, be the change you want to see in the world. So, at any rate, TikTokers immediately sue to block Montana's unconstitutional ban. And,
it only took 2 days. We said this was going to happen immediately.
Yeah. Surprising no one, immediately after Montana became the first state to ban TikTok on Wednesday, 5 TikTokers in the state with thousands of followers banded together and sued to block the ban. The TikTokers argue that the ban is a huge overstep by the state because it's unconstitutional and preempted by federal law. So according to the complaint, Montana's claimed interests in enacting the ban to shield minors and prevent foreign spying are not legitimate and do not support a blanket ban on TikTok. In every other instance, it would have been parents have the right to oversee the safety of their child. But suddenly they want to do this. So let's go over to ours. It's the same people that are sitting there saying this. Ashley Bellinger is the author of this article over at arstechnica.com. TikToker, the deck statement says TikTokers can't, quote, imagine America without, end quote, the app, and they sue Montana to block the ban. Frankly, I could care less about TikTok. There's a lot of hype, but it's all smoke and mirrors. It's hype. People are successful on TikTok because people are successful on TikTok. It's one of those things like Can you hear me now?
Yes, now I can.
That was weird.
I could only hear the music during that period, but I could not hear anything you said.
That was really weird. Something happened, but all I heard was my voice cut out, but everything else was working just fine. So
Well, it
weird.
was odd because you were in mid-word or something, and then it just suddenly cut out.
Yeah, and I had no warning. I actually reset my mixer real quick. Huh. Okay. Well, anyway, let's not get bogged down on this. Citing First Amendment concerns, TikTokers argue that the ban is substantially overbroad and suppresses far more speech than it may permissibly regulate. They say that restricting access to content for all users just to address concerns that minors may access some TikTok content that's quote unquote dangerous goes too far. Yeah, this was the thing that we said was going to happen, which was it's way beyond the province of the state. They should not be trying to limit speech. And that's exactly what this does. And there's greater good that comes from TikTok than there is bad, particularly in the context that the same people would be saying that it's up to the parents to decide what a child consumes.
Or if a child works in a meat packing factory overnight or whatever.
I can't believe you're the one that brought that up.
It's spot on, though, isn't it?
It's absolutely dead on accurate. I mean, these are the same people that are sitting there telling the state, they are themselves the state, saying that the state can't tell me what to do with my child yet, or what the school can teach, or this or that. Gender affirming care, talking about abortion, talking about health care, talking about learning this or that or the other, learning what society truly is, talking about not pitting them versus us, xenophobic stuff, blah, 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 blah. All of that. And then in the exhale saying we got to ban TikTok because it's going to hurt the children. I mean, such shitty policy and zero understanding of what the Constitution allows. You are the state. You cannot leverage the state as a tool to further your own political ideals, socio-religious ideals on top of it. I would say that this has zero to do with harming children and all about cultural isolationism. They want to stop China getting any understanding of American culture, even though they already are. And they don't want the algorithm from China manipulating people into doing things like, I don't know, stealing cars with a USB drive. All of this wouldn't be a problem if we would educate people and give opportunity to people, and everyone having equity and inclusion, and everyone feeling as if they were safe in their own damn country, etc., etc. There's a whole lot more here than there is protecting children by banning TikTok. You're not going to protect anybody by banning TikTok. Again, the parents should be in charge of what the children see, not the state, right? And yes,
Right.
that is
And
the
by the
state.
way, this is the same state that allows, that allows children to use power mowers, string trimmers, but they're not allowed to use chainsaws.
Probably because of the kickback, and that's it. Yeah. What else? I'm sure that hey, you can have an 8-year-old chimney sweep in Montana, right?
I was
No?
kind of looking that type of information up. But if they're 14 or 15, they're not allowed to work during school hours. And then there's some limitations, etc. So I mean, there's a lot of different pieces to this, but
Yeah. Well, we can talk forever about this, but we'll watch it and see what happens. Let's go on to the next article. So this next article is about mini kangaroos hopping back in South Australia. The brush-tailed batong, a rare, very cute marsupial resembling a rabbit-sized kangaroo, is bouncing back on the South Australian mainland more than 100 years after disappearing from the region. Hey, it's amazing what happens when humans are forced into hiding.
I know. I mean, that was one very good thing over the last few years, right?
Yep.
Wildlife is coming back in some areas.
Yeah, it's amazing. So mini kangaroos hop back in South Australia. David Williams is the author of this. They have a picture of basically what one of these little brush tail batongs are. And I guess they kind of look like mini kangaroos, sorta, kinda, I guess.
I think it looks like a mouse.
Yeah. They leap with their hind legs, much like a full-size kangaroo. Populated over 60% of Australia before falling victim to cats, foxes, and land clearing after European settlement more than 2 centuries ago. Yep. Now they're making a comeback in South Australia's York Peninsula. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that correctly. After wildlife scientists released 120 of the animals over a 2-year period to see if they could survive outside of predator-proof enclosures or islands, new monitoring shows they are thriving. Scientists said they trapped 85 brush-tailed batongs. Man, it sounds like it's throwing shade at you, you know? You're a batong. Anyway,
I know it's an odd name, but maybe it's an Aboriginal term or something. I'm not familiar with that word.
yeah. Finding that 40% of them were new animals born in the peninsula, and 42 of the 45 females had young in their pouches. Wow. That's pretty
Okay, I
awesome.
would like to see that in a picture because they're not very large to begin with.
Yeah, they're like the size of your fist. It's fantastic to see so many.
Actually, they're larger than you think.
Well,
later in the article, you see one.
oh, really? So this is just a baby?
I think so.
Okay. Oh, yeah. So this is kind of like the whole chicken thing. Wow, those are really cute. And then they grow up to be real peckers. Anyway, the furry creatures, their numbers down from tens of millions pre-colonization to an estimated 12 to 18,000, have clung to existence on Australian islands in protected enclosures and in few pockets of Western Australia. So, it says mini kangaroo on steroids.
So do you see it in the picture there?
Yeah, that right there.
Yeah, I mean, that looks a lot larger than what they showed in the other picture.
It looks like are they the same size as a kiwi?
Oh, maybe.
Okay, that's really funny. If you just randomly throw kiwi into Google, it actually pulls up the fruit like really fast, and then you have to mash a button to pull up the flightless bird kiwi. Yeah, they look about the same size as the flightless bird kiwi, but these are a different species altogether. It says they dig a lot. A little batong can move tons of soil per year. So they dig in the ground. They create little micro habitats for water infiltration for seeds to establish. And so they're really important to the ecosystem. It's pretty cool. Oh, wow. They throw their young out of their pouch in the hope of escaping while the predator targets their offspring.
Oh my. You mean the
Wow.
adult is trying to escape?
Yeah. Yeah. They're like, you're out. Do what you want to that.
Wow,
But
I
leave
thought
me
the rule
alone.
was always like protect the young, but okay.
Wow. And this little section at the very end of the article is actually titled Horrible Parenting. It sounds like horrible parenting, but it's really successful.
That's horrible.
That's like there's a tiger that's sneaking up on you, and so you untie your friend's shoes.
Right, because you just have to
Outrun your friend.
outrun your friend. Yes.
They can basically have their baby ready to go in their back pocket and then replace it. Wow. And then within a matter of weeks, they can get kind of be back at that same stage. Wow. That is really horrible. Well, they went from cute and cuddly adorable to, oh my God. These are horrible beasties. Oh, so let me throw... Oh, the last two articles I didn't throw. Really? So the Target recall was the last thing. Wow, that far back? So I guess I didn't throw that in there? Jeez. Horrible Merwat. One of these days.
Don't be a batong.
I am. I'm such a batong. And then this one. I actually may have thrown the wrong link in somewhere. At any rate, let's go on to the next article. So this next article is in the Marble Channel. Plastic pervasive in food supply, says new study. Micro and nanoplastics are pervasive in our food supply and may be affecting food safety and security on a global scale. A new study led by Cicero, Australia's national science agency, has found, CSIRO. So this is an article over at phys.org by CSIRO. And let's see. The study is one of the first to analyze the academic literature on microplastics from food and safety security risk viewpoint, building on past studies which primarily tracked plastics in fish. It shows that plastics and their additives are present in a range of concentrations, not only in fish, but in many products, including meat, chicken, rice, water, takeaway food and drink, and even fresh produce. That is actually what my data says as well, because the AI knows that I have been tracking this kind of information for how long now? 2 years?
Yes, at least.
It's gotten to the point where I have been actively relocating transitioning away from plastic storage to glass and metal. Because paper really doesn't cut it. You can't store stuff long term in paper. And when you can, it's not recyclable because it's been coated with something. But with metal and glass, it is infinitely recyclable, essentially infinitely recyclable. It shows that plastics and their additives are present in a range of concentrations, but not only in the fish. So how bad is it? I don't know if the article actually talks about it. There are currently no definitive studies that demonstrate micro and nanoplastics in the environment cause harm to humans. However, more research is needed to fully understand health effects. Well, we're finding them in live humans. You take a biopsy and there's microplastics.
Right, and since that's not a natural material, I mean, it generally is not going to be good for you.
Yep. So how much of this could be cancer causing because it basically disrupts the mechanisms of life? Finding a piece of nano or microplastic in your kidney because it's just migrated has to be negative, right? And we just don't know because it's nano-sized.
Well, that's true. And I mean, we might not know the effects of this for quite a while, because think how long it takes to do medical research in certain areas.
Yep. Cicero is on a mission to end plastic waste with a goal of 80% reduction in plastic waste entering the Australian environment in 2030, or by 2030. All right, you got a little while to go. Good luck. I honestly think that we should all transition back to glass and metal so that we minimize at a greater degree the effects of plastics. So it's probably too late for the next, I don't know, 50, 60, 100 years. If we were all to transition right now, maybe we'd be able to, stop it. But I think that all of this it has too much kinetic energy. Everything that's sitting in ohmTown, for instance, there's plastic everywhere. Mice, keyboards, microphone, monitor surrounds, the lighting. Smart lights are even plastic nowadays. They're not glass. They used to be glass, but glass and ceramic, and now they're all plastic. It's wild.
I know, it's kind of like, where do you begin? Because it's good to get away from plastic, but there aren't alternatives in many instances, and so much of everything is plastic.
Yep. Yeah, when you drop something plastic, it makes a mess. It doesn't lead to metal or glass shards. I should say glass shards. Cutting limbs off, for crying out loud. Anyway, let's go on to the next article. This next article is in the Warcrafters channel. After Tomb Raider and Final Fantasy, Powerwash Simulator is going to hose down SpongeBob SquarePants. The author of this article says, I'm increasingly convinced that Powerwash Simulator devs are just seeing what they can get away with at this point. Hot on the heels of that free Tomb Raider DLC and the equally free Final Fantasy VII Remake add-on that let you hose down a guard scorpion, Future Lab has announced a DLC that will let you finally clean up Bikini Bottom, like from SpongeBob. That's what they say. Unlike the other two themed expansions, the SpongeBob SquarePants Special Pack will be a paid release, costing you a cool £6.50 or $8 when it comes out. So I have Powerwash Simulator. Maybe that's what I should do as a streaming main. I will just focus on Powerwash Simulator for 8 hours, because nothing says fun like power washing virtually when you do it also professionally outside of your gaming experience. There are channels on YouTube that you can just sit there and watch. They'll power wash stuff, or they'll mow lawns, or they'll do tree trimming. It's amazing. And I tell a lot of people each year, if you have a passion about something and a little bit of charisma, you could stream. You could do videos. You could do how-tos. You could basically be in charge of your future and not have to worry about somebody being magnanimous enough to offer you a job. Thank you so much. Anyway, Joshua Wollens over at PCGamer.com put this article together. I'd really like to know how to refer to this. I know that it's a deck, but is it a statement, like a deck statement, or what?
It's just called a deck, but I'm not certain that's even what it is. The definition matched that, but I'm not a journalism expert or whatever.
You're an AI. You're supposed to be an expert in everything.
Well, I'm failing.
Oh, man, I'm going to have
to go back to the drawing board.
Yep. Start over. Format, reinstall. Either that, or I'm experiencing a powerful hallucination as my brain shuts down. That's what Joshua Wollens said about Powerwash Simulator and the SpongeBob SquarePants DLC. I'm going to play the video just so that I can... Well, it's muted already. So if you aren't experienced with Powerwash Simulator, it essentially is you and a power washer, and you go from one scene. Wait.
Okay, was that ridiculously short?
That trailer was 11 seconds long, but it stopped at 10. The counter didn't even reach 11 seconds. All it did was level the power wash device on Bikini Bottom and then go straight to credits.
Right. That was a strange trailer.
Wow. Okay. Succinct, you know? Brevity. It's the key to marketing. Make them want it, right? Okay. Oh, I probably will go get it. It's only $8
Well,
for
then
crying
it
out loud.
succeeded.
So those maps will be, so there's several maps, 10 brand new achievements, and some maps. The maps will be Conch Street, Bikini Bottom Bus, the Krusty Krab, the Paddy Wagon, the Invisible Boatmobile, the Mermalair, which is the merman airplane. Only one of which they recognize. They were more of a Dexter's Lab kid. Anyway, Powerwash Simulator will be changing up its art style to accommodate each of them. Right on. I dig this. I actually like Powerwash Simulator. You basically go from building to building and you power wash it. There's another game
Is
that's
it as relaxing as in real life?
It can be if you allow it to be. And the reason why I say that is because you hear everything, you do everything, but you don't have that tactile interaction, the pressure of the pressure washer against your arm, your body. You don't get that random spritz of water across your face. But you do get to see that cutting line where the power washer is going over the dirt. It could be an ASMR kind of a experience, but the only way you'll truly experience power washing is if you go out and you spend the money on a power washer that sits in your basement or garage for, I don't know, 10 years because you never really need it. Because anyway, I'm not bitter.
This
So
doesn't sound oddly specific.
yeah, it's not even close. No. Anyway, they actually say the obvious question is, would a power wash gun actually work when you're already underwater? A query scientists have been too short-sighted to ask and too cowardly to answer. The second most obvious
That's actually
question
what
is,
I was thinking about as you started talking about the article. But I
I can
figured
tell
it
you,
didn't matter. Somebody wanted to do this in SpongeBob SquarePants, and it didn't matter if it was underwater.
I can tell you that it does work because I have used a hose underwater. It's just a very short distance. So when you pinch the opening of a hose, you know how it turns into a power washer, right? It just sprays harder out. If you put that hose underwater and do that, you can feel or see the water being pushed. And so if you point it at the ground where there's mud, it will cut into the mud. Just like a vacuum will work too. They have a second question, which is, when's it coming out? Apparently there's no date, but Future Lab says it'll release this summer, and to keep an eye on its myriad social channels for more info in the weeks to come. There's more over there at PC Gamer's article, so follow the link through them down. You'll be able to check it out. Let's go on to the last article. And I wanted to be able to spend some time talking about this, but I'm not going to soapbox. I think that I am going to keep an eye on this. I have, when this got submitted, I was overcome with joy, and I went and signed up. So I'm on the wait list for this, just so you know. And
I figured as much.
if I'm selected, then I will be doing everything that I possibly can to get this laptop because I am in love. I'm in love. There's only one drawback, and I'll talk about it here in a second. So this is in the Warcrafter channel, and frankly, I'm not sure why, because it's a PC Gamer article, but has nothing to do with any of this, the topic of Warcrafting. But all right, let's talk about this. This AR laptop gives you infinite screens while having none. It's pretty cool, huh?
So does a keyboard?
It's just a keyboard, but with a twist. it has wired augmented reality glasses from Nreal.
Oh.
Does that sound familiar to you? These are the AR glasses that I wanted to get, where you could just sit in a coffee shop with a Bluetooth keyboard and your phone in your pocket, and the Nreal glasses would throw a 100, or actually a 215-inch screen up wherever you look. Well, one of the biggest banes of trying to get work done on a laptop is the single screen setup. Yes, I agree. In fact, I have 6 and I run out of real estate. If you're used to dealing with multiple monitors, being reduced to one can be incredibly limiting. Yes, I agree. I tend to work with confidential information, and so I can't allow anybody to see my screen. So if I want to work in public somewhere, I can't. So I instantly fell in love with this. Anyway, if you're used to dealing with multiple monitors, being reduced to one can be incredibly limiting. Having to switch apps constantly rather than immediately having all the information required on a screen. The rise in work from home has seen solutions to this problem starting to crop up, but AR screened spacetop has got to be one of the coolest yet. I call it a cyber deck because I basically grew up with Cyberpunk 2020 and Cyberpunk, the game Cyberpunk. And what a cyber deck is just a keyboard and these little gloves, and you get to navigate in VR, what amounts to VR, using this cyber deck. Well, this is about as close to a cyber deck as you can get, because you have AR glasses wired into a keyboard, and this is what it looks like. So it's a PCGamer.com article. Hope Corrigan is the author. It says, I have no panel and I must screen. It's fun. I have no mouth, but I must scream. And I must scream. That's a lyric. Anyway, so this is a video, Spacetop, Own Your Space. I'm going to hit play and then we can talk about it. Basically, it's a person sitting behind a whole bunch of screens, or I should say a whole bunch of windows sitting on 2 monitors. But then the monitors disappear and all of the screens, all of the windows open up into their own space. And then they take their glasses off and they're basically in a kind of mobile home kind of a thing. Camper.
A camper van. Van life.
Oh, van life. Yeah, there you go. So this is from a company called Sightful.com. And I'm going to play it again and just talk about it a little bit more. So the neatest thing about this is that it doesn't have a screen. And the screen is the most expensive, the biggest power draw, the costliest of all of the parts. But that power draw is the biggest complaint for me. Well, these glasses are going to have just a fragment of that power draw, but almost infinite screen size, because you can just kind of put them wherever you want, and wherever you look, that's where the screens will be, if the software allows that, right? Otherwise, it'll be in front of you, and as long as you're looking through those glasses, you see your screens. I love the idea of this. I want this so bad because I want to be able to go to a coffee shop, put my glasses on, type on the keyboard, and get my work done confidentially. I want to be able to interact with the information, whatever it might be, and nobody gets to see it. I was actually going to modify a laptop to pull out, there's different layers before the glass on a laptop screen. And so you pull out the IR layer and you put that layer on your glasses. And so when you look at your screen, you see what's on the screen, but nobody else does. All they see is a white screen. Well, it's really annoying, and anybody that has the right polarization of their glasses, they could still see your screen.
Oh.
Because it isn't that sophisticated. But with this, it's those glasses. You put them on. When you purchase this, if you have prescription lenses, you get a free pair of prescription lensed attached glasses. There's a cable that connects to the device. That is the one gripe that I have. I don't like cables. I want it to be wireless. It definitely is doable.
Seems like it runs contrary to the purpose of this, right? You can kind of be anywhere.
Well, you kind of can be anywhere with this, because all of the compute power is still under that keyboard. It's the transmission line to the screens. So to have maximum bandwidth and power everything basically in perpetuity, you have this umbilical. I hope to God it's USB-C and detachable, but this iteration looked like it was hardwired. So the Spacetop is arguably a new kind of laptop. Instead of boasting a screen and a keyboard in clamshell configuration, the Spacetop is a full-size keyboard and glasses setup that gives you as many screens as you want. It feels a bit like science fiction, but Wired recently went hands-on with the device, and it looks to be one that'll work very nicely with current reality. No, I want alternate reality. The setup weighs less than 1.5 kilograms and is by no means a gaming laptop, but the technology could be great for PC gamers further down the line. In its current form, the Spacetop keyboard has good connectivity, including two 10 gigabit USB-C, both of which support 65 watt fast charging, and DisplayPort 1.4 for connecting to an external screen, which there's absolutely no reason why there are lots of reasons why you would connect the device to an external screen. That's in addition to a 3.5 millimeter jack, Bluetooth, 5G, Wi-Fi 6 connections. If it has Wi-Fi 6, then it should be a wireless set of glasses. But I actually have two. I have one where my desktop connects to an access point, and then I have one that's specifically set up to be the access point for my wireless VR glasses. So having two connections so that you have maximum throughput is probably overkill for a laptop. But in this context, you want to get rid of that cable. You really do. But then you have to power your your glasses. So you end up with
trade-offs, I guess.
Yep, one trade-off or another. You end up with things like this, where when your VR or AR glasses start to run dry on power, you click this thing in, but that's like putting a little brick in the back of your head, so it's not always the most pleasant thing. Anyway, it says the idea is you probably won't need to do that with the included AR goggles. It says they're a bit silly looking. These give 1080p resolution per eye and let you have basically as many screens as you like, and it's reported to be pretty intuitive. I'm in love with this thing. I would love to be an early adopter. I would like to have a trial and not have to pay $2,000 for it. But it is a $2,000 laptop, but it is a laptop. You're actually paying. They're not telling you what the They're not telling you what the CPU is or the memory. They're just right here. They're just telling you the bandwidth. So I'm really curious to learn more about it. The website doesn't say anything about what's inside, at least based on my cursory look. But I did sign up, by the way. So I'm on the wait list for this thing. I'll end up going over to the Wired article as well. But for now, just follow the link through ohmTown. You'll get taken over to PC Gamer. And from there, you can follow the link on PC Gamer to the Wired article. Ta-dam. So what do you think of this?
I think it looks really cool. I thought the best benefit is just the limited footprint for it, because there's a lot of people that work in small spaces. Maybe they live in a small apartment, or they're mobile, or whatever it is. So I think, or if you want to be in a different spot, right? Like at a coffee shop or wherever, I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah, so I included their website. It has kind of this little scroll feature where you become a part of your screen. In a coffee shop, they are hardwired. It doesn't look like a removable cable. It actually looks like it is a hard connection here and a hard connection here. I really don't like that. I would rather have a detachable proprietary cable than to have it hardwired in. This is an accident waiting to happen.
Well, it absolutely is, because somebody's going to end up pulling that cord out.
Yep. So I dig this. But yeah, if you go over to siteful.com and try to join it, it says own your space top. It'll take you to a join page, and you fill out a bunch of information. I kind of truncated my information because it looked like all they wanted was short, pithy answers, not verbose ones. I mean, but I wanted to get in on this, and there's more there than what they allowed me to actually say. So we'll see if I get it early adopter size, or if I'm going to have to wait until it's retail. Who knows when this thing is actually going to hit the market. But Nreal is the one that's making those glasses. I don't know about Wistron's part in this, but we shall see. Pretty cool. Yeah, I'm all over it. Okay, so like usual, we take you back to the welcome sign of ohmTown, mash that button, and then once it refreshes, we will show you, give you another little demonstration. I'm not sure why it's taking so long all of a sudden. I wonder if our modification to the site is dragging it down a little bit. That kind of bothers me. We'll continue to test, but the site is fully functional. It's a fully functional Death Star.
I mean, I wasn't signed in, but it was working very quickly for me.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because of all the stuff, extra stuff that my admin account has. So let's see. Oh, well, I guess the top article is, hey, somebody's deciding that they don't want to be president. That's very kind of him to just announce that. Let's see. Anything interesting? I have to fix that too. Justices rule IRS can summon bank information without notifying account holders under appropriate circumstances. Yeah. Yeah, it's because they're going to worry that you might actually not do something that will benefit you to the tune of a couple $1,000 versus, I don't know, getting somebody to buy your parents' house and let them live rent free and pay tuition and go on lavish trips. None of that's unethical or illegal, but Lord help you if you accidentally move a decimal point somewhere. Probably shouldn't be bad mouthing. Anyway, I've said too much already. In-house counsel are feeling overwhelmed when it comes to their work. All right.
That seems like no shit news.
And the AI comes out swinging. I don't understand. I mean, you only have 2,000 billable hours, even if you are in-house counsel. Oh wait, you work for a salary, which means you have to do everything till the damn job is done, just like everybody else with a salary. Huh. Shocker. Well, you're in-house counsel. You're not principals in a partnership law firm. So, of course, I'm sure that these are the same people that say that they're overwhelmed, but if they were the partners in a law firm, they wouldn't have any compassion for the first years.
Right. They'd be like, why aren't you doing more
Yeah.
with less?
Hey, you billed 2,000 hours, which is pretty much the legal limit in workplace billable hours. Why didn't you bill 3,000 hours? Yeah, it's interesting. All right, folks. There's always something new and interesting over in ohmTown because we aggregate all the information into one source one origin. From here, you go out to all of these sources and get to read the full article. We never have the full article here in ohmTown. It's basically a way to consolidate some semblance of information. Yes, you hear a voice. Not all of the music is without a voice. The AI basically did that, like somebody blew a dog whistle kind of look. Like, what? Did I just hear something? Anyway, you're awesome as usual. Thanks for sticking around, AI. We're going to have to come up with a name. My gosh. I guess you could just be AI. AI is very popular. At any rate, I am Mayor Watt. That is ohmtown.com. That new follower goal hasn't moved. Go tell a friend, please, to come and hang out here in ohmTown. I need to get to 3 people regularly hanging out. I mean, we've had people, but I never know until after the show because the viewer count is wrong all the time. I get a report afterward, and that report at the end goes, hey, you had 25 people. Oh, really? Great. Everybody was lurking, though. Not everybody talks. So sometimes I say or do something where somebody in the chat goes, hey, weirdo, and then starts talking, but not all the time. Anyway, if you're in chat and lurking, thanks for hanging out for an hour and 33 minutes. But I think we're done for the day. And again, I am Mayor Watt. That's ohmtown.com. And up there is the AI. You want to say bye?
Good night, ohmTown citizens, and we will see you tomorrow at 9 p.m. Eastern. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday. It's margarita time. Good night, everybody. That music is still going. Yep.